Hello and welcome to Filmi Ladies. We are back on our Kapoor family nonsense, and we are finishing out the third generation of Kapoors with Rishi and, of course, Neetu Singh, whom
Yes.
I adore. I know Pitu is not quite as much a fan of Neetu as I am, but that's okay. And we both love Rishi.
Yes.
So this is going to be fun. We obviously have talked about Rishi Kapoor quite a bit on this podcast already. If you have not heard those episodes and you are interested, they are on Qawwali's. They are on his autobiography. And then we've scattered in various things about some of his movies and performances, such as our unexpected new, what was it? New Year, New You, kind of unexpected
Yeah.
playing against type kind of things, where we talk about some of his work as a character actor and things like that. So he is hither and yon throughout the delights
Yeah.
that are our backlog. Or we hope you find them delightful anyway. But today we're going to focus on those two, and you can't really talk about one without the other anyway. Uh, so it's just as convenient for us that they're married.
Yeah.
So, um, let's start with Pichu. What did you watch? Because I'm not sure I remember.
I rewatched Khel Khel Mein, which I've seen a
Same.
long time ago.
Mhm.
And I rewatched one of my all-time favorite movies, which was Cars. This movie has
It
everything.
does have
Okay,
everything.
let me quickly tell you all the amazing things this movie has and why people should watch it. Number one, it has reincarnation, which is one of my favorite Bollywood themes. So it has Punarjanam. And the best part is this Punarjanam is all about vendetta. It
Mm.
also has divine intervention. I love movies in which the goddess Kali has nothing better to do than to interfere in the lives of lesser mortals. And she comes around and stomps on the bad people, which is what she does in this film. Another movie I
Hmm.
love where goddess Kali very much makes an appearance is Karan Arjun, also has the reincarnation and vendetta aspect. Also, it has an amazing soundtrack by Lakshmikant Perilal. I know we love Rishi in his Qawwalis, but Rishi really sells all the disco
Disco
music in this
Rishi is
movie.
also very
Yes,
great.
this movie also has Sibi Garewal as such a feather boa wearing evil vamp femme fatale, and
So
she looks
evil.
fabulous in every scene. Even when she's supposed to look like ugly and wretched, she's still very glamorous. And I'm
I
like,
know.
okay, because it's Simi Garewal. She
Mm.
always looks glamorous. Also, this movie has a lot of sequins and disco balls, and it has Rishi wearing sequin jumpsuits, which I'm all for it. He should just wear sequin jumpsuits all the time. There is not a sweater in sight anywhere. There is not a pom-pom hat in sight, unlike Khel Khel Mein. The wardrobe in this film is very, very shiny.
His
This
his
movie,
jumpsuit has his name on the back of it, does it not?
yes, yes.
Monty?
Monty, yes,
Love
because of
that.
course you do. Like you want to be announcing yourself from the front
Oh,
and the back.
if you
What
could choose, would you rather have a jumpsuit with your name on the back or a fanny pack with your name on it?
a jumpsuit because it's more space and
Oh, true.
you can really announce yourself in capital letters from 2 miles away, and ideally carrying like disco lights with you as you
That
go
will be
because
the
you know.
uniform of the Filmy Ladies Bollywood ice cream stand.
Yes.
Okay, that's
They will
seven
be
things.
melting during summer,
Well, yeah.
but you know.
What else you
um
got?
I have a mute villain who communicates via tinkling, and then his spokesperson is, I think it was Mac Mohan, but I didn't pay attention. But a hench dude is his spokesperson because
We love a
he
hench
doesn't
dude. I'll
say
give that its
anything.
own
Love that.
number.
It also has lots of beautiful mahals and coffee and
Mm,
tea plantations, and it's shot in like Kudur and Uti, so it's very beautiful and very lush green. So it makes for a good contrast to the Kali Mata Mandir khandars and the
yeah,
ruins, and then also the disco. So this movie has everything,
it does have a
and
lot
therefore
of things.
people should watch it.
I can't imagine anyone listening to this podcast has not seen Cars, but you might be like me and you have not seen it in a long time. So,
Right,
because
but this will revisit.
I did not remember a few of those items that you named. So clearly I need to
You
get
should just
back
revisit
into it.
it. I rewatched it after a long day of work because I was on vacation for a week, and I came back, and the first day at work after vacation is so rough. And then I watched
You
it at night.
you forgot to name Aruna Irani
Yes,
and
Aruna Irani.
Iftikhar as a doctor, not a cop
Yes.
or a lawyer, but a doctor. Also an acceptable job for Iftikhar, so that's pretty good.
Iftikhar and Aruna Irani are also in Khel Khel Mein, so I definitely got
Yes.
like a bonus
Yes.
version of all the same. I was like, oh, I saw you yesterday night. Oh, I'm now watching you again. But there's no such thing as too much Iftikhar and too much Aruna
No.
Irani, so I am not complaining. It was great. Also,
Yeah.
Khel Khel Mein does have wonderful music as well. So I have to say, preparation for this Rishi Kapoor episode was a
Mm,
breeze.
yeah.
Which movies did you watch?
So I too rewatched Khel Khel Mein because I had not seen it in a long time.
Mm,
And I rewatched my favorite Rishi Neetu film, which is Rafu Chakkar, which is
mm.
a remake of Some Like It Hot, which is another film that I really love. So that's a favorite of mine. And then I watched for the first time Neetu Singh's debut as a heroine, which is called Rickshawala and stars Randhir Kapoor and Prawn and Anwar Hussain and Ranjit, who is another of our stalwarts of the last, these Kapoor episodes, like Ranjit and
Mhm.
Iftikhar. Those guys are really coming to the
Pran is
fore.
also in Karz, by the way, has an
Of
extremely
course,
important role,
of
very
course he is.
important role.
Yes. Uh, and I have a lot to say about Rickshawala, which we can get to. So
I have a quick question. Does
yeah,
Randhir Kapoor play the Rickshawala?
of course he does. And
Okay.
he competes in a Rickshawala race.
Wow. I would like to watch that very much.
I'll get into this more, but there is a really lovely upload of this, like very high quality print upload of this film on the Shamaru YouTube
Hmm.
channel. They have, of course, slapped their logo on it egregiously.
Mhm.
Um, but visually, other than that, it's very, very nice. Like someone took good care with this film somehow. Like it's a better quality than you can see for like maybe not Dewar, but like a lot of the big 70s hits, like this one
Yeah.
looks immaculate. So I was grateful for that. It does not have subtitles, but you know, can
He
muddle
also sent
along.
me screenshots of it, and baby Neetu looked very, very baby.
Baby
She looked
Neetu.
really pretty.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I would like to know what are your favorite things about these two people individually and then as a pair?
Rishi individually, I think, is one of the finest actors. I love
Mm.
him. I remember once Neetu Singh was on some interview show, and someone asked her about what she thought of Rishi as an actor, and she said he's literally the only actor that no comic is able to mimic. Like they're not able to,
Oh,
like
that's
imitate him.
interesting. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she said that it was basically because he did not have any, like he didn't overact, he didn't have any specific thing that like a crutch or like a weird tick that you could pick up on. Like she said, it was like he was hard to caricature in some ways, which actually I
Okay.
kind of agree. Like, how do you
That's
even mimic
interesting.
Rishi Kapoor? He's not egregious in any, like it's not like with Dilip Kumar, people always imitate his dialogue style, or with
Mm-hmm.
Raj Kumar, people
Mm-hmm.
imitate the way he speaks. With Amitabh, they always sort of imitate his posture and like
And the
his
voice.
machismo and the voice. With Shah Rukh, it's always the stuttering.
Yeah.
Like anytime a comic wants to make fun of any of the big actors, it's really easy to pick up on that one thing that is sort of their signature. But it's really hard to do that with Rishi because he doesn't really have a signature. And I think that's what makes him so excellent in all of the movies that I've seen.
That's
Like the
fascinating.
movie, yeah. And I thought she made a really good point. And I feel
Yes,
like
she
it's a
did.
point that only an actor could have made.
Probably. Yeah. I
Because,
would disagree that he never overacts. I certainly think
okay,
he does sometimes, but he is not among the egregious overactors, in my
right.
opinion, at all. Like,
Yeah.
also the kind of movies that he mostly did, of course he's going to overact sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
part of the
But
recipe.
to me it's almost like his overacting in those scenes or in those movies kind of like goes with the tone of the film.
Yeah, he does not
you know
distract, I would
yeah,
say.
like
Yeah.
it matches the tone. You don't want someone who's going to be so like nuanced and perfect. Like for example, Nagina, which is one of my favorite Rishi Kapoor
Mm,
movies, because of course it has Sridevi and it has like snakes and Ichadhari nags in it.
mm,
I mean, the concept itself is so ludicrous
yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can't be over there with like your National School of Drama kind of training happening. Not that any of the Kapoors would go there, but you can't have that. So I mean, he fits in just fine in that
Hmm.
milieu.
Hmm.
Um, so I'd say I've seen a lot of his 80s pot boilers that I thought were horrific,
Hmm.
but he was always good in those. And
Hmm.
then in movies that I really enjoy, like Karz, for instance, he's phenomenal. And
Hmm.
I love how he can play essentially everything. He can play sort of like the romantic boy next door, which he's done in a lot of movies. He can play the very impish, funny person, like in Amar Akbar Anthony. He can do a really good villain, as we've seen in some of his playing against type roles. He can play
Later.
sort of, yeah, later. He's a really good dancer. I'd
Yeah.
forgotten what a
Yeah.
good dancer he is, because I think Hrithik Roshan came and warped everyone's idea of dancing.
Mm.
But Rishi Kapoor was a really good dancer, especially in Karz. He really gets to show off his moves. And he's really easy on the eye, I gotta say. Like,
Mm.
he's very, very pretty in a very chocolate hero. Like, that is what heroes were supposed to look like, until people like Shah Rukh came along and people were like, what? This is not what heroes look like. Um, so I don't think there's anything but Rishi Kapoor that I don't like. I do think
Hmm.
he kind of overstayed his welcome as a romantic hero
Kinda.
with the sweaters and the general, like, it was very like uncle vibes. Like, by the time
Uncle.
yeah, like the
Uncle.
Divana movies like that, it is very hard to watch him with his sweaters, playing a guitar and like trying to bring it. And I'm like, no, you are in
No, sir.
uncle territory now, please stop. So
Hmm.
he definitely did that, but he's not the
Hmm.
first actor to have
Nope.
overstayed his welcome.
No.
So I can't really hold that against him either. And he was also a very entertaining tweeter.
So entertaining. Yeah, as a public figure, he's quite interesting and fun.
Very, very politically incorrect. And every interview of his that I've seen has been entertaining, because he just doesn't give a shit. And he just says whatever he wants to say. And that's why his autobiography was so much fun as well. So I really, really like Rishi. And then Neetu Singh, I'm just kind of like blah about her.
Hmm.
Um, it's not that I dislike her. It's just that she doesn't bring anything to the table that I am interested in,
Hmm.
like for me, when I look at the 70s actresses, it's like, if I want really good acting and like just blow me away, blow my socks off performances, I'm looking at Smita Patel and Shabana. If I want the glamour, I'm looking at Zeenat Aman and Parveen Babi. If I want girl next door adorable, I'm looking at Deepti Naval.
Hmm.
So there's nothing that Neetu Singh offers me that I'm going, oh my God, yes, I needed this. But
Uh-huh.
when I see her in a movie, it's not like I'm thinking, you suck, please go home.
Right.
Like, I enjoy her.
Yeah.
I really like her in Kabhi Kabhi. I thought she was really fun in that. Her scenes with Vahida, her scenes with Amitabh,
Hmm.
her
Hmm.
scenes with Rishi in that movie are so good. She really holds her own. I like her when she's playing sort of this spunky, sprightly girl who has a mind of her own and she's going to speak her mind. But to my mind, that's all she does.
Mm.
I've never seen her do anything other than that. So I
Hmm.
like her in that very narrow lane that she
Hmm.
has. But it's not like I'm looking for Neetu Singh movies to watch.
Mm.
But when I look at Rishi and Neetu together, they're just, the chemistry is off the chart.
Yeah.
They just bring a smile to your face. They're
Yeah.
so cute.
They're
Like
so
in Khel
cute.
Khel Mein, that song, Ek Main Aur Ek Tu. Oh, her with the
So cute.
pigtails and the dress. I mean,
Yeah.
they're darling together. And I
Yeah.
don't like anyone with Rishi Kapoor as much as I like Neetu Singh. They're
I
just
thought you liked
adorable.
Dimple the most with Rishi.
Oh, I do like Dimple. But that's also because I love Dimple.
Mm.
And I don't particularly care for Neetu. Yes, you are correct. I do think I would rank, I like Rishi and Dimple a lot. I also like Rishi and Sridevi a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but Rishi and Neetu bring like a cuteness that Rishi and Sridevi never brought, and
Right.
Rishi and Dimple never brought. Because I don't know if Dimple knows how to be cute. She just pretty much is just like phenomenal all the time. But yeah, when they're cute, they're very cute. That like teeny boppery romance
Yeah.
and the moppety hair and the
Yeah.
70s styles. It's just it's very feel good.
Yeah.
And I love them in that Qawwali from Amar Akbar Anthony,
I
Tayyawali Pyar Ka
know.
Dushman, Hi
I
Hi.
know.
All the Qawwalis that they do together, they're adorable.
Yeah.
And they dance so well together. It's
Yeah.
just, you can see why they were such a good like jodi. And it's a
Hmm.
happy jodi. It's not a dramatic, oh my God,
Right.
you're gonna break my heart jodi like Amitabh and Rekha.
Hmm.
It's a
Hmm.
jodi you can root for, and you know that there's
Hmm.
going to be a happy ending.
Hmm.
So you don't have to stress out while watching their films.
Hmm.
So that's what I would say. What about you?
So for Rishi by himself, I this is somehow slightly different than I feel about other actors whom I also really like, but there's just something fun about watching him. And it's not that every single role he does is fully lighthearted, but there's something, it's just more fun. And I am speaking mostly of his 70s roles when he starts
Yeah.
to, and he
Oh
starts
yeah.
to uncle fast, fast. I'm not as interested in those. I also have not seen as many of those, but when he's in
You're
his
not missing
prime,
much.
yeah, when he's in his prime and the age difference between him and his heroine has not gotten completely disgusting, um, I I just think he's really fun to watch. He's always doing something. Obviously, he as we've discussed many times, he sells a song like nobody, um, in whatever format of choreography he's been given.
Hmm.
Um, when you see him with especially with some of the women, like it does look like they are doing steps that are
Yeah.
like further along or better or something than he is, but he's
Hmm.
still keeping up and like it's most of the until he's very uncle, like,
Right.
so there's just something kind of charming and fun about him.
I think
Mm,
charming is the perfect word. Yeah. And
yeah,
also like energetic.
yeah, yeah.
Like this
Need
is
to
not some mellow dude.
No, no. Need to it's similar. Like I just there's something kind of I don't want to say bubbly exactly because I feel that's a word that's levied against women to make them feel small. Like it sounds like a compliment, but really it's not kind of word. Like, so I don't mean this in a diminutive way, but there really is something sort of bubbly, effervescent, energetic, ebullient,
Vivacious.
vivacious about her. It is partly because I think more than her contemporaries, I would say she tends to be playing girls,
Yes. 100%.
sometimes young women, but skewing younger than Zinat and Parveen, I would
Hmm.
say, who because like there's no comparison between Reika and Neetu Singh. There's just not. Um, but and maybe him and Melanie, like there's a little compare them a little bit more, but yeah, there's just something young about her in a way that did not seem forced or weird or
Mm.
gross somehow, because sometimes you see women having to play younger than they are in a way that you're just like, ugh, they're just having
Yeah.
this person be young for gross purposes or whatever. But there's something, it seems a little more genuine with her. Despite considering myself basically a Neetu Singh mega fan, I would say I was shocked to realize how young she was when she debuted as a
Yes.
heroine, 15.
Hmm.
Ooh, and I know that's not unique to her, but there's just that's so very, very young. And I'll talk more about it in Rickshawala. But and the fact that she then retires basically at 22,
Hmm.
which is shocking, shocking. And she made a colossal number of films in that very short time. And, wasn't her choice to leave. She says it was, but it's complicated, as we know.
Hmm.
But, and when she comes back, she's delightful, I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel the need to really give her any major acting awards or anything, but there's something about her as a presence that I just really enjoy. I think she's funny also,
She
which
is.
which helps me a lot. And I feel about her the way I feel about Rani Mukherjee, which is there's something just sort of like smiling and a little bit winking and impish and like
Yeah.
fun going on there. Like she's going to tease you a little bit in a way that
Yeah.
that suits the heroes that she's paired with and things like that. Um, I and as a couple, they are just so much fun to watch. And I truly don't know if we are watching them fall in love on the screen or not.
Right.
They're good enough actors that they could convince us, even if they, I don't want to read too much into that. But when you think about it, you can't not think about it sometimes, and it is cute, even though we know their real life romance is thorny and complicated and probably
Yeah.
not to be emulated. Um, but yeah, just together they're really fun. And for me, I love this era so much. So of course I
Yeah.
sort of automatically love them as well. I enjoy with quite a few different actors. Like,
Mm.
she's kind of paired with Shotgun Sinha in Kalapathar, and somehow that works okay. She's with Shashi and Randhir a few times, which I don't like as well, but it's okay-ish. It's not the
Yeah.
best. Um, she's around Amitabh some. So I don't remember if she's ever with Dharmendra. That would be weird to me somehow. Um,
Nothing
I mean,
comes
I'm
to
sure they're
mind
in
for
some of the
me.
same, I mean, like I know they're both in, Dharmveer, for example, but they are not
Mm.
paired. She's with Jitendra there, which I think is a good pair for her. He
Oh,
brings a lot of the Rishi energy, right?
Jitendra
Um,
almost feels like the male Neetu Singh to me,
yeah, there's some very,
right?
very similar, yeah, very
It's
similar
that same
things going
like
on there.
it's, and I feel about
Bouncy,
Jitendra the same way, where it's like I'm
yeah,
not seeing Jitendra movies out, but when he's in some of those like fun 70s movies like
yeah,
Karma, which I love,
yeah,
he always brings a smile to my
yeah,
face, and I'm like, you're cute. But
yeah,
I don't necessarily then think I have to watch all of
right,
Jitendra's films. But it's a
right.
little bit of that same Neetu. Oh, so were they cute together, the two of them?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah. And she plays, of course, she's playing sort of like the gypsy character
Yeah.
and, things like that. I enjoy her as a dancer. I'm not going to
Mhm.
argue that she's the best, but I think she's really fun, especially given particular styles more than
Yeah.
others, which I do want to talk about in Rickshawala as well. But yeah, I just overall find them delightful individually and as a pair. So it's fun to get to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah. I also think it's like a tad bit unfair on my part when I say things like, I don't really think that Neeta Singh brings much to the table because the woman basically stopped acting at age 22.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind
Who
of
knows
like,
what could
and
have been?
I know she had like a big body of work
Yeah,
prior to that, but like
yeah,
before that age, I mean, I don't even know what kind of like roles you're going to be given, especially
right,
looking what the competition is, right?
right.
So I don't know, like maybe if she had quit when she was like in her 40s or something,
Or even
she could have,
30,
right, she could
right?
have maybe
Yeah,
shown us a bigger range of things that she could have done. I mean, the point that you made about like she always plays girls, it's like, yeah, I don't remember her playing like, say, a woman in a difficult marriage, a la Dimple Kapadia and
yeah,
Kosh,
that's a good
or
question.
something like that, because I don't think they ever saw her as that. It's a little bit of that same like Mumtaz effect, where it's like Mumtaz was
Right.
just always a girl, or Saira Banu, always a girl.
Mm,
And they just never really, I don't think I've ever seen Mumtaz or Saira Banu as like ladies or like as women,
mm-hmm,
always like some college going
mm-hmm.
person with like books held close to their chest or like riding a cycle, which is great, but like I don't think of them as like
Yeah,
missing something or the other with two children that she's sending off to school, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite Rishi Neetu movies together, and then just Rishi movies? Like tell me about Rafu Chakkar, because I think I've seen it like once, but it was ages ago, so I don't remember
This is
much.
a film that I think people either haven't seen or they don't, it doesn't like you. It's like then it hasn't
Yeah.
latched on for them. So it is a remake of Some Like It Hot. If you've seen that film or know that film, you're going to get basically the same thing. Neetu plays the Marilyn Monroe character, um, and Rishi is the Tony Curtis character.
Okay.
So Rishi and play two um, friends who are the sons of currently single mothers.
Okay.
Um, Rishi's dad, Anwar Hussain, is a criminal and is basically his wife is like, you got to stop this. And he's like, no, I won't. And then she takes the kid and and he gets arrested and she's, takes the kid and goes and lives with her. I believe it's her friend who is Paintal's mother.
Hmm.
So they go up together. They're musicians for complicated reasons, involving basically they witness a gang murder.
Oh,
They have to go on the run and they end up going in drag as members of a women's only band.
okay.
And Neetu is in the band.
Okay.
And then they, all these things happen where like both of them seem to be kind of romantically interested in her, but she really wants, and she has run away from her aunt and uncle who are trying to marry her off for money. She's an orphan, I guess. And so she like out the window and runs away. She really wants to marry someone rich. That's really important to her. So then Rishi pretends to be a millionaire.
Okay.
And so he's in drag sometimes and then he's in millionaire drag, other. So it's like, it's pretty wackadoodle. And it's funny to me that I find this so amusing because that kind of like, some of that can skew really broad comedy, which I don't tend to
Mm,
like as much in English either. Like, but so it's funny to me that I love Some Like It Hot so much, but it really does work pretty well. There's a few moments where Rishi like direct addresses the camera
oh,
in a
okay.
way that like I see what I'm doing,
Right.
and there's some funny lines about um working in the film industry and things like that. this has a complete rogues gallery of villains and hench dudes because there's like a villain smuggler summit. And
Oh,
they're all there, including his dad and his dad's criminal partner. And then like there's a big fight at the end. And there's this scene where Rishi like leaps on the table to sword fight. And he just has the biggest grin on his face. Like he's having the most fun time. And he's
right.
still quite young in this, in that is he like 21 in this film or something like that, or
Okay.
22, 23, having a grand old time. It's just fun. It's just fun. I
Right.
really recommend it. The songs are nice, not as memorable as Khel Khel Mein, but they are nice, I would say. Um, and it's really cute. And what for me sort of slots it in above Khel Khel Mein in terms of their partnership is that it's nonstop funny.
Mm,
It does not take the turn in the second half to being a murder mystery.
right.
And I have nothing against that, but for me, for what I prefer, this is just like pure sugar rush, cute, fun.
Right.
And like, yes, they're smugglers, but like it's 70s masala smugglers, like it's fairly inconsequential, even though the moms
Right.
are like, of course, held hostage and blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah.
it's there's no real danger in this movie at all, where I feel like in Khel Khel Mein, there's a little bit
Yeah,
more
for sure.
because I think that the plot twist and all in Khel Khel Mein is more significant and things like that.
Hmm.
So it is very cute. They have a stage number where they're all in like kind of Helen or Vegas showgirly like silver outfits with big feather
Oh, nice.
plume, bustles and headdresses and stuff, singing away. Um, there's a song in the beginning when they all meet on the train that is taking them from Bombay to, I think they're in Shimla or somewhere like that. They're like
Okay.
up in the mountain. No, Kashmir, sorry. And they're like singing about being on the train, making little like train motions and
Oh,
train.
that's cute.
Yeah, it's really, really cute. I fully recommend. And Rishi and Paintal both do a great job with the, sort of cartoonishly high fake voices to try to prove they're
Mm,
women and stuff. Like it's all very absurd, but it's fun.
right.
Asrani is the band manager, and somehow his like comedy uncle is like just it's not too much for me. Rajendranath is there as a comedy
Oh,
uncle. It's
wow.
all again just the right amount for me. Faryal is the other band manager, and she's pretty funny. Like it's just fun. So
Nice.
if you are familiar with Some Like It Hot and you remember how Tony Curtis does a sort of fake Cary Grant impression as the
Okay.
rich character, Rishi is not doing anything like that I can observe. He is speaking in a different way, but I don't know if he's supposed to be imitating someone in specific. It didn't click for me if he was, but I would not know 1970s Indian billionaire. So,
Right.
and he's definitely not trying to do Cary Grant. So, yeah, cute film. Give it a watch. I do not believe it is online with subtitles anywhere. I actually have a DVD back in the day,
Right.
but I think if you know Some Like It Hot, you could watch it without subtitles, no problem.
Hmm.
At
I've
a Hindi
actually seen
speaker.
stills from Rafu Chakkar for sure because I know I've seen pictures of Rishi in drag, so I'm just
Yeah,
assuming that they're from that.
probably.
Because
He's very pretty.
ages he is because ages ago during the blog days, take a shot. I remember we someone was talking. There was like this whole thread that was going on about like men who looked really beautiful in drag, and I
Hmm.
remember Amir was mentioned in that list. Sachin was in that list. Rishi was in that
Yeah.
list. And then there was also people who were mentioned as being absolutely horrific in drag. So like I think I contributed a picture of Akshay Kumar and also a picture of Salman Khan in drag, and I was like, these
Oh.
pictures will give you nightmares because they were very very
What is
bad.
that horrible movie with Seth and do you know
I
the one
love
I
that
mean?
the
It's a little
question starts
more
in what
it's
is that horrible movie?
mm,
Is
is
it
it called
it's a movie where
Humshuckle?
oh I have not seen
Um
it.
it's a
If
more
it's
recent
Hamshik.
one with oh yes, it is. I believe it is some shekels with
Mm,
oh yeah, Ram Kapoor and Ritesh Deshmukh are in it, and they are in drag in it, and it's like it's not while in Rafu Chakkar, like I think that it's a little bit clownish, but it's not as clownish as that.
mm,
So like they're but they the point is them trying to I guess it probably is in that movie too. I haven't seen it, but they really are trying to fit in like for their lives,
right.
not just for like financial gain or to play a trick on someone or anything. They are undercover from the mob, basically, right?
Right.
So and they'll get kicked out of this band immediately. And they need money. They need some kind of way to earn a living. So um yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty
Um,
cute.
why is Khel Khel Mein one of your favorite movies?
I love the plot is so interesting, and their romance in the beginning is just so cute, and the songs are so
And the
great. The
costumes.
costumes are great. Like
Yeah.
if you don't know the plot, they are in college, they fall in love, and they are friends with Rakesh Roshan for reasons, question mark.
Yeah.
And he embroils them in a what they he is presenting as a prank, but then actually someone ends up dead, and then other people end up dead, and they are think that they are on the run from a bad guy who's lurking around in a like a big hat and trench coat. That's Dev
Hmm.
Kumar, who is a great lurking hench dude from the 70s. Iftikhar is there as a cop, and so just that kind of it's just after midway through, I think that this makes this twist, and you're like, oh, you are no longer watching a college romance, you are watching a
Right.
murder mystery. And sometimes that tonal shift is too much and it kind of like flies off the track and you're not invested anymore. But for me, like I'm really with them the whole way. I think it's very effective
Hmm.
and it's just so unexpected. It's not masala formula at all, really, or at least it's two different ones shoved together in a way
Yeah.
that really works. So it's outlandish in a way, but I don't care about that. Like
Yeah.
it works for me and the tension is, kind of like the right amount and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So I just find it very effective and I did not expect it to A happen and B be effective. And it was.
Right. I think what works about Khel Khel Mein for me, especially, is like that the college romance part is so cute and romantic and teeny boppy, which is
Mm,
why that turn is very believable. Like that
yes.
absolute shock and
Yes.
horror at what they've gotten themselves embroiled in, like their absolute panic is
Yeah.
very believable because
Yeah.
it's like, wait, what is happening? Because they're basically just a bunch of clueless, stupid
Yeah.
kids, you
Totally.
know? They're
Yeah.
just dumb. And then for this to happen to them, and they're like, oh my God, how are we going to cope with this?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it fun. Have you seen Khiladi, which is basically a remake of this, the Akshay Kumar movie?
I believe I saw it a long time ago and don't remember. Again, that's the thing you should take a shot with because I say that a lot on this
Yeah.
podcast. But yeah, it does not stand out to me. This is the one that stands out.
I had watched Khiladi when it came out, back when I used to be an Akshay Kumar fan, because I like Kill Kill Me so much. And I was just
Sure.
curious. I was like, would they manage to make it work or not? And I actually had enjoyed Khiladi very much. Um, Khiladi has Deepak Tijori playing the role that Rakesh Roshan has in this movie, and the heroine was Aisha Julka, if I remember. So she was definitely
Hmm.
the weak link, and Deepak Tijori is just kind of like, eh. So the
Yeah.
acting in Khel Khel Mein is a lot better, but Khiladi did have very good music and it had very good action. And also, I
Hmm.
was an Akshay Kumar fan person back then, so Khiladi was one of my most enjoyable movies.
I'd like to see it, especially having rewatched this. Like I could,
Yeah.
build on
I mean,
that.
Khel Khel Mein is the better movie, so
Sure.
just keep your
Sure. That's
expectations a
fine.
little bit lower. But Khiladi is a good time as well. And I think they also managed that shift really well. I think Khiladi was made by Abbas Mustan, and I pretty much
Oh,
always enjoyed
nice.
their
Uh-huh.
thrillers. I
Hmm.
mean, they do a good job with those. Um,
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah.
yeah. Do you know, I realized something really shocking about Karz. So I, for some reason, was convinced that Karz must have been like the biggest blockbuster ever because this movie, I've seen it so many times, and every single time it just like hits the bullseye for me. Like I do not want anything less or more. Like it is perfect. I loves it. And I
Mm,
was like, surely this movie must have been like a gigantic blockbuster and lines out the door and all the jubilee celebrated. No, it was a very
no.
average movie, apparently.
Interesting.
And guess what? Apparently it released, and 2 weeks later, a movie did get released, and that movie became the blockbuster that I thought Curse would have been. Do you want to guess which one it is? I'll
It's
give you a clue.
1980, right?
Yes. And it's a movie that you and I love. And
Oh,
we have spoken about it on the podcast. It has very, very excellent music, has a lot of disco and sequins and jumpsuits and things like that. So it has some of the same.
tell me, what is it? Why can't I
It's
think?
Kurbani.
Oh,
Like
wow.
what horrible timing. Like you come out with
Yeah.
Cars, you think it's gonna like kill it. Like, so I read an interview of Subhash guys as well as Rishi
Interesting.
Kapoor where they were convinced that this movie was gonna be like this huge hit because the music had become a chartbuster, and they were
Sure.
like, this movie will make it. And it had average showings, and then 2 weeks later Feroz Khan released Qurbani, and that was it. I'm
Even better
like,
music. Yeah. Yeah, and if I had to pick between those two, I would pick Kurbani for sure. Uh
I would do a double feature where I would go and watch Cars,
don't make
and
me
then I
choose.
would
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
would watch Kurbani, and it would just be like just the songs alone
Yeah.
would have me like
Man,
overjoyed for like a
yeah,
week.
what a day that would be.
I
Oh,
know.
that's those kind of bits of history are so interesting. Like nobody saw it coming, or probably
Yeah.
maybe a few people. Maybe Feroz Khan, when he saw, Cars, was like, "Oh, I got this,"
Yeah.
but a lot of other people would not have known. Yeah,
But
that's
based on the
fascinating.
music alone, you think it's going to be a big giant hit, right? Because
Mm,
it's like so good. But then Kurbani comes along and the music is even better. And you're like, ugh, I hate you. I hate all of you. I could
right,
just imagine how frustrated Rishi
right.
Kapoor and what's his face, Subhash Ghai would have been. But this
Hmm.
movie, Karz especially, has something that I really enjoy about Subhash Ghai. So I am not a masala person. I don't really like masala movies, but when Subhash Ghai does masala, I loves it because I love Trimurti, I love Khalnayak. Pardes, I have very mixed feelings about because it's so weepy and annoying, but it has Shah Rukh
Yeah,
Khan in it, so that makes up, makes it up for me.
yeah,
But when Subhash Ghai makes a masala movie, he does not hold back. It's
yeah,
kind of like Feroz Khan, right? Like
yeah.
he is bringing out every single trope you've ever heard of. You have the roti hui ma, you have the vidwa ma, you have the sister who literally is now a servant in someone's house because she have no money, because the femme fatale has thrown her out of her mansion, so
Mm,
she's literally cleaning people's vessels for a living. So Subhash Ghai is very literal. He's like, you want roti hui ma and sister who has to like bartan manjo, I got you, boo. I love it.
and a
And then
giant record player too.
and a giant record player, and you want like an evil femme fatale woman, I got you. Simi Garewal is so good in this movie,
Yeah,
Beth. Like, I love
yeah.
her. Like, I know she's conniving and evil and horrible, and I'm supposed to hate her, but my
You
inherent
can't.
love for Simi Garewal, like, comes through. And I'm like, I know you're a dark soul and you're vile, but yet I'm rooting for you. Does that make me bad as well? Like, I don't care. And her costumes are so amazing. She looks so good. She
Oh,
shows up at the big dance number that Rishi Kapoor is doing, where he literally enacts the murder of Raj Kiran,
right.
literally on stage. Like, there's the song going on, Ek Hasina Thi, which is like
Yeah.
such a great song, and it's all very like, it's very like magnum opus vibes. And then literally there's like a jeep, and Tina Munim is in the jeep, and then there's a person, and then the person is hit with the jeep and everything, and the camera goes like this on Semi's face, and she's like,
Right.
I loves it. And Simi Garewal is wearing one of my favorite Bollywood costumes, which she's wearing an emerald green sparkly outfit and a
Mm.
feather boa and long earrings,
Mm.
and her hair is done like this, and she just sits like this, and she's very like, hello. And then
Mummy.
you see all the horror on her face, and I'm just like, girl, you are so glamorous. I know you did this bad thing. Like, I know you rammed your Jeep into your husband 3 times and ensured he was dead. And yet I am rooting for you. But I'm also rooting for Monty. And Simi Garwal apparently either was nominated for or won a Filmfare award for her performance in
Mm.
this movie. So what is really hilarious is that my two favorite Simi Garwal performances are Karz and Aranyet Din Ratri. A Subhash Ghai film and a Satyajit Ray film, because we know these two are the same.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
so tell me, if you had to name like your top five Rishi Kapoor movies or Rishi
Oh,
Kapoor performances,
oh gosh.
which ones would you pick?
Ugh. I was not prepared for this question, although I should have been. Agnipath is my favorite performance ever, I think. And I know it's so atypical for him, but
So evil.
I remain blown away by that particular performance. And I think about it
Mm.
often. I have actually never revisited the film,
Mm.
but I remain shocked by that performance. Um, Doduni Char is probably up there, right? And I had
Mhm.
meant to watch that as well, rewatch that as well for this conversation, but ran out of time. That's delightful. Probably
It's so
Amar Akbar,
darling.
Anthony, probably Rafu Chakkar, I would say. Yeah, I don't think I've ever disliked him in anything. I can't remember if I said this or not when we were talking about Sridevi. Um, he grosses me out in Chandani, but I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think that's his fault. I think it's the character.
Yeah. Oh, the character is
So
terrible. He's such a man child.
yeah, and he is good at being just and I don't think I'm supposed to find him. I think I'm supposed to root for their love, but I do not. I cannot.
Right.
I find him just creeptastic and horrible in that movie. Um, so that therefore maybe makes it a good performance. Um,
Right.
yeah, I do, yeah, I like them all.
Did you ever finish Prem Rogue? I know you were
No, I
struggling.
never did. No, I
Okay.
abandoned halfway through.
Because I
And I
do like
also
him in Prem
abandoned
Rogue as well.
what's the is it Vijay, the one of his Yash Chopra films where he's with
Yeah,
Anil
yeah.
Kapoor. I had abandoned that one too. But yeah, so
Okay.
that kind of like, mid to late 80s, 90s stretch for Rishi is probably I probably will never watch all of those.
No.
Again, if someone has specific recommendations, I'm game to give them a try. But and again, I don't think he's going to be awful. I think it's going to be what's surrounding him that is awful. And I do
Yeah.
think we have to hold him responsible for how long he lasted as a hero. And yeah, if that's what you're offered, that's what you're going to do. But also, you're a Kapoor. You probably have some kind of clout that you could have gotten some slightly different scripts and stuff like that. And I don't feel like the autobiography really talked about that particularly. It's been over a year since we read that, but
I don't think he talked about that, but he did talk in the autobiography about how difficult it was
yes,
to survive in the industry at that time when
yes,
you had basically Amitabh Bachchan around.
yes,
And because the films being made at that time were sort of these like actiony movies,
right,
and that just was not his forte.
right,
And so,
right.
and the kind of movies that he was good at were not being made. So it didn't necessarily sound like it was hard up for money or anything, but it did sound like it was difficult just to even get good scripts and stuff.
Mm,
But again, my question in that is, why don't you make opportunities for yourself?
right.
Like, you're a
Could you
Kapoor, you
produce?
literally have RK Studios, you could
Yeah,
perhaps produce something.
yeah.
And I think the movie that oh my God. Do not watch this movie, Beth. Do not. But Prem Granth is the movie that
Oh,
Rajiv Kapoor of Ram Teri Ganga Maili fame
yeah.
had produced, and perhaps he had also directed. I think he had directed it also. And it has Madhuri, whom I love, and it has Rishi. And it was supposedly a remake of Tess of the D'Urbervilles, the Thomas Hardy novel that I love. So I was like, oh my God. Tess of the D'Urbervilles, love.
Yeah.
Madhuri, love. Rishi Kapoor, love. What's not to love? There is nothing to love. It is a horrible movie. It is absolutely unwatchable. It is Drac. And he is in his sweaters in every single scene, even though he's like in like a hot summer's day in a village in India, and yet he's wearing his floofy sweaters. And I was like, this don't make no sense. But nothing about Prem Granth makes sense. And then I think Rishi also directed one film. I don't know if it was RK Banner, maybe it was Aab Lord Chile. That's the only film he's ever directed. Was it
Right.
RK Studios?
Yes, it
Technically?
was.
Okay, so this is what I mean. So like clearly your brother produced a movie and you starred in it, Prem Granth, wah, and then you directed a movie which perhaps your home production also produced, upload, wah. I don't know. You need to be making better choices.
Wow.
Wah, the
Love
buzzer,
that.
the
Love
buzzer
that.
of disrespect. So
Hmm.
I don't know, like his sometimes I mean, we're not involved in the film industry, we don't know anything about these people's lives, but I do sometimes wonder, it's like all this whining about I'm not getting the kind of work I like, and it's like, okay, but like you can also try to make opportunities for yourself, why don't you? I don't know. I will say though that like 80s 90s era that where he overstayed his welcome, it did produce one very good movie for me, which is Nagina.
Sure,
um,
of course.
I
Of
love that
course.
one.
Yeah.
But of course, it is a Sridevi show. Nobody is watching Nagina
No,
for Rishi Kapoor, even if they like
no.
him. It is completely for her that you watch it. And
And
for
he
Amrish
is
Puri,
also there.
he's also there. Basically, he's a footnote in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But I do like him in that, and then that's basically it. I remember when I watched Divana for the first time, and I was a Rishi Kapoor fan, but then I had switched allegiances to up and
Sure.
coming Shah Rukh. And in Divana, there is So Divya Bharti has already moved on to Shah Rukh Khan, and everyone is under the impression that Rishi Kapoor is dead. And then there's a song at her birthday party where she's wearing a bubblegum pink, like candy pink sari that she looks adorable in, and I love that sari. And her earrings are so pretty. And the crowds part at the party, and there's a guy in a white suit, and he's playing a guitar, and that person is Rishi Kapoor. I
Right.
remember when I saw that, and I sighed, and I was
And he
like,
has the beard, right?
I
Does he
don't
have the
even remember.
stubble by
Beth,
that point?
does he? Oh God, I don't know, but I remember audibly sighing. I was just like,
Oh
oh, please
no.
no. I know
Oh
I'm supposed to
no.
be happy at this moment, but I'm not. I'm much preferring the Divya Shahrukh pairing because you look like her mama ji.
I had completely forgotten that Rishi is in Sheshnag.
Is
Speaking
he
of
in
snake
Cheshire?
films, he is. And like that movie is for Rekha and Danny
Yes.
Denzongpa. So like no one's watching it for you, Rishi Kapoor.
But to be fair, it's so hard to watch a movie for someone else when Rekha is in a movie.
True.
Like the
But
woman
like
is
even
just
he cannot
the only person that can stand up to Rekha and take people's eyeballs away from her is Amitabh Bachchan, basically. And
basically.
sometimes even that doesn't work
Yeah.
because it's Rekha.
Yeah.
Um, what was I saying? What would be my favorite Rishi Kapoor movies? I would say Karz is definitely my number one.
Mm.
Um, I love Nagina, even though it's not really his movie. I do like him in Chandani very, very much. So I love him in that. Um,
We have
what
not
else do I
talked
like?
about Cubby Cubby on this episode, which is interesting because I asked Twitter what are your favorite Neetu Singh performances, and a lot of people named Cubby Cubby. And
Yeah,
you did say you like that performance of hers, but
I love
like
her in Kabhi Kabhi.
they don't really register as a couple in that one for me, nor does Rishi register in it particularly. Although there's some cute scenes with him and Shashi
Hmm.
that I like, but that's more for Shashi. So
I love their song though. Like that song has sizzling chemistry. Like I don't know how all the snow did not melt. It's
right.
the Tere Chehre Se Nazar Nahi Hatti. Oh my God. Like it is sizzling. And then also Pyar Kar Liya To Kya Pyar Hai Khata Nahi. That's a really good song too. Like at the big party with all the people around it. What looks like a glass greenhousey thing. I don't know. Very pretty, like wooden architecture. I do like him in Prem Rogue, which is a weepy, but I like weepies, so it's okay. But I do like him in Prem Rogue. He's just no one does disappointed like Rishi does. When he looks all sad on screen and he's just like got his little sad face, and then I'm like, cheer up, Rishi. It's so much nicer when you're smiling and laughing. Like, don't be so sad. So I like him in Prem Rogue a lot. I love him in Amar Akbar Anthony
Mhm.
with his completely outlandish, ridiculous clothes and his taweez and his hat. And he's
Oh
just
yeah.
no one does a Qawwali like Rishi, as we've said.
Yeah. Nobody.
So I love him in that as well. I think that's kind of like my I love him in Ye Wada Raha. Please tell me you've seen Ye Wada Raha.
Yeah, yeah. I watched it on your recommendation and that was enjoyable for sure.
Yes, I love him in that film. And him and Poonam Dillon look so good together. And
Yeah.
that song, Tu Tu Hai Wahi, oh, I love him in that. And then the transplant happens with my favorite surgeon of all time, Dr. Mr. Shami Kapoor. And then she becomes Tina Muneem. And that is also an excellent 70s film that I would recommend. He's really good in Yevada Raha. He
Yeah.
does play performers a lot, doesn't he?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because he does that well. Is there any kind of role that you think he doesn't do well? I feel like he aces
I'm
everything.
looking at his filmography and I mean maybe there's some in there I haven't seen even half of his movies for sure, but I don't nothing is standing out. I mean, we've referred multiple times to how he said in the auto bio, like no one's casting me to play a villager, so maybe he
I'm a
could not
Kapoor.
have
We
done
don't look
that.
poor.
Yeah, so when you were saying like you think he does everything well, I was like, well, we didn't see him try that, and maybe that would not have been convincing, but um yeah, so no. However, I will say, um, did he if he played a villain when he was in his prime
Mm,
hero era, and I don't know if he ever did, but if he did, I wonder if I would have been convinced of that. But I'd like to think maybe I would have because he was so excellent at it when he was older. So maybe that was in
yeah,
there all along and he just didn't get those offers or he didn't take them or whatever. People weren't gambling on that. I don't know. But
yeah.
yeah, I
I
think I
think
have found him convincing in everything I've seen, I think.
I think he would have been an excellent villain if he'd done it when he was young because I think his baby face And his kind of like chocolatey looks, I think, would
Yeah.
have,
And his like spoiled rich boy thing,
yeah,
like you can see that transferring to like a certain kind of villain.
yeah,
Like honestly, I think he could have played Rakesh Roshan's role in Khel Khel Mein. Like I'm
yeah,
glad he didn't, but like you can see him doing like,
yeah,
you know, jerk frat boy who gets
yeah,
people in over their head, maybe not on purpose, but like is a bad influence, like that kind of
right.
villain. I can see him doing that.
Or someone very petulant, or someone who
Oh,
gets
well,
into
like in
trouble.
you know, he's super annoying in Domini.
Yes, he is.
He's kind of a villain in that, even if not
Hmm.
technically maybe a villain, but he's pretty
He's,
awful.
I mean, I think I read an interview of Meenakshi Seshadri actually, where she did say that it was very hard for them to cast the role of the husband because no one wanted to do it, because
Yeah.
everyone knew that the Damini role itself, like that was going to be the main thing. So no one wanted to do it. And secondly, they knew that Sunny Deol's character, the lawyer, was also going to get like the big, like high octane
Yeah.
scenes. So they were like, why would anyone do this thankless, like husband role where he's the jerk and he's unsupportive of his husband, of his wife and everything? And she did say that Rishi Kapoor was one of the few people who was willing to like rise up to that challenge. And Meenakshi Seshadri and Rishi Kapoor actually stayed really close friends until his death. And
Huh.
she lives in Plano, Texas, of all
Right,
things.
right, right. Yeah.
And every time she would fly back to India, she would always meet up with Rishi and Neetu, because they were really close buddies, which is not a friendship I'd ever imagined, but okay. Because if you follow, I used to follow Meenakshi Seshadri on Instagram and Twitter, and she'll post all these like pictures with Rishi. She was really cut up when he passed. So
Oh,
that's interesting to me. He does make for very good interviews, though, I have to say.
oh yeah,
No one does interviews like, I mean, Neetu is much more politically correct and diplomatic than he is, and she kind of has to be, because if
probably.
she's
Yeah.
very open, then people are going to know what an absolute jerk husband he was. um
Yes.
but yeah, the Kapoors do not make for good husbands, well, except for Shashi.
This is
Well,
the
Shami
except for
was a good
Shashi.
husband, yeah,
Except
but
for
Shami was a
Shashi
good husband too, so except for Shashi and
series.
Shami.
Yeah.
So now that we've come to the end of the third generation of the Kapoors, who would you rank as kind of like, we can do like a yearbook kind of a thing where
Mm.
it's like, like where they have like most likely to succeed and stuff.
Oh.
So your trophy for best actor, I'm guessing, is going to go to Shashi.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. My trophy for best actor would also go to Shashi. Who would your trophy be for best hero, which is different from actor?
Oh. Um, probably Rishi, I think.
Same.
But caveat, I have not seen enough Prithvi Raj films to say, but and the ones I have seen, I guess he's not the hero actually. Like
Right.
Sikandar is not really the hero of Sikandar, ironically.
Right.
um so yeah, question TBD, depending on what Prithvi, but also the notion of hero is probably quite different when he's a star. So that's, like
Yeah.
apples and oranges a bit here. But yeah, at least in the terms that we think of it now, Rishi hands down.
I would actually tie Rishi and Shami.
Oh, true. Shami, yeah. I've
He
seen
is
more of
like a
Rishi's films,
classic
so
hero.
yeah.
Yeah. I would tie them. Yeah, I would tie them. And then, who's your best dancer among the all these Kapoors?
Oh, Rishi.
Yeah. I would say best dancer technically would be Rishi, but most enjoyable dancer would be Shami. My Shami bias is showing through.
Sure. And they all of them can sell a song.
Yes. Well, not Rajiv and Randhir. Well, Randhir, yes. Rajiv, no.
You know what? I one of the things I have learned from this so far is that Randhir Kapoor is better than I had given him credit for. I will fully admit my mistake there. He's
Yeah.
rising in my estimation as we talk about oh my God, we haven't talked about Rickshawala.
Oh, I know. Just I have to say, since so far I have been on a good track record of recommending films to you that you have
Yeah.
appreciated and
Yeah.
not wanting to throw things at me,
No,
I
no.
am once again going to push Kal Ajar Kal as a movie
Right.
that you will A, enjoy, B, has very good Babita ridiculous costumes, and
Sure.
C, has Raj in it, and Raj and Randhir, and will raise Randhir even more in your estimation. Before we move on to Rickshawala, who do
Yes.
you cast your vote as most beautiful Kapoor?
Do we include the wives in this or no?
It can be male and female. Most
Uh,
beautiful male and most beautiful
oh,
female.
Shashi and
Yes.
trailed by Prithviraj, I would say. Um, and Neetu.
Okay. I would say Prithvi and Shashi would be a tie for me. Actually, I would give most beautiful to Prithviraj because he has that like whole hunk thing
He
happening,
does. He
which
does.
Shashi does not have the
Right.
hunkiness.
Right.
But he also has all of Shashi's prettiness. So my
Yes.
vote goes to Prithviraj.
That's fair.
And then among the actresses, it's Babita versus Neetu. I would give the vote to Babita,
Hmm.
primarily for her outfits because I love her
Yeah,
cake
very
outfits.
different styles going on there, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the 70s-ness is just going to win every time for me. So
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about Rickshawala. I
Oh my
assume
gosh.
Randhir is poor in this movie.
Yeah,
Does he sell the
so
garibi or
again,
no?
I didn't have subtitles, so like
Mm.
the basic gist of this is that Mala, okay. Actually, I don't know the basic gist of this film, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely clear what was happening. Pran is, I believe, Neetu's guardian,
Okay.
not her dad, I don't think, but like,
Uncle.
but then Mala's or like well-wisher, I don't know something. And then like Mala Sinha also is an adult in her life, and I think is her
Okay.
mother. Wait, so then
Oh.
Pran's not, I don't know. But anyway, so and then Anwar has said, okay, sorry, I'm not telling this well, and I really can't because I didn't really know what was going on. But the film opens with Anwar Hussain on a round bed that is spinning around, and he's wearing a suit, and he's like telling people about he's clearly a villain, right? Like no one
Yeah.
who's a good guy has a rotating round bed
No.
until Austin Powers. Um, so he's got like this bevy of women with him, and like there's a lair, and Ranjit is there, and like alcohol and whatever. And then he eventually, I don't know what his issue, I don't know what his damage is, but maybe he's a smuggler. He's probably a smuggler. I don't know. But then like he's after Pran in some way or other. But then poor Neetu is kind of caught up in this, and eventually he I guess kidnaps her and he's gonna like sell her off, but then Randhir is like undercover as the guy who's like buying her. So it's actually like okay, and he gives Pran, who's been tied up in a wheelchair, he gives Pran kind of a like a it's me, and he gives
Okay.
Neetu a it's me, and so like and then there's a big fight at the end, and Neetu gets to like shove villains over a balcony and stuff. Neetu gets in on some of these brawls, which I appreciate.
Yeah, she does.
So I don't really know what the plot of this movie is, honestly. Mala Sinha is there, and then her like original for her first husband or something comes back. And I at first was like, is this guy gonna be bad or good or what? But it turns out he's good, and it's very confusing to me. And
So,
this is really a like, please somebody who's watched this movie tell me what happened because I really don't know. But then also Randhir Kapoor is a rickshawala. And I don't really know why it's named after him because he doesn't seem to be the most important part to me. But also,
mm,
your like young man Kapoor is going to be the star no matter what vibes, I guess. I don't know. Poor Neetu is like literally is 15 years old when this movie comes out. And as I was talking about Nargis back when we did her in our Superstar series, like she's very young and you can tell.
mhm.
Um, she does not seem at home in all of this. She's getting there. And I have seen her as a child, an actual child star, and I think she's very cute. She's getting there, but like they give her a sort of some of her, outfits and stuff are like a little maybe too
Mm.
mature for her. I believe she's supposed to be a college student. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Um, and she has a song. So the version of this I watched, the Shamaru upload that's in parts, which I chose because the full one had ads like every 2 seconds and it was driving me crazy. The one in parts cut some songs,
Oh,
which I did not learn until after I'd watched it. And then YouTube is like, hey, do you want to watch this song? I'm like, oh, what's that song? I'm like, oh, that's from this movie. And they cut it. So she has a song as part of a college arts day or I don't know something, right? It's one of
okay.
those stage productions and like
Yeah.
the main older male characters are sitting in the front row on
Mhm.
like sofas. um
Yeah.
where okay, you guys, this is another of these moments where I'm like, what is happening? It has four kind of scenes throughout the song. It starts out, Neetu, a shooting star comes across and hits like a gold spinning planet. It A mist happens, and then Neetu arises as a in this sort of Apsara outfit
Yeah.
and is singing about being young and beautiful and all these kinds of things. And she has some backing dancers. She's not great at the like funky Apsara. It's not quite disco
Mm,
Apsara. It's more like funk Apsara, but not quite. But she
okay.
doesn't seem fully at home in
She's like
this.
Apsara and go-go boots.
Yeah, she's actually barefoot, but like it's getting towards
Okay.
that. So she doesn't quite sell that. And then it changes to a different kind of, and I need to pull up my screenshots really quickly. It does change again in terms of what's what's going on in the, the costumes have changed and stuff. And then she becomes a oh, she has a similar kind of outfit on, but then the backing dancers have become cow cowboys. And I'm saying cowboys because it's still women backup dancers, but they are in drag as
Okay.
men, which you don't see super
No.
often, right? Then the third sequence in the song, she's playing a hippie. So she's got like a
Okay.
short skirt and they are drinking. And in the background is like our blinking city lights that spell out kiss me, honeymoon, and blow hot. And she's like wearing boots and a, like a headband. It's got like a big
Yeah.
silver belt. And the backing dancers are, I believe, are supposed to be women again because their hair is long. But then they basically sexually assault her.
What?
There's groping and all these women and are like groping her. And it's women groping not an item girl, but the heroine. So, like, I've seen Helen get groped in a song by
Right.
one man, but a heroine getting groped and assaulted by multiple women who at one point were in drag, are no longer in drag, I don't think, unless we're just ignoring their hair, which is possible. Um, and then Neetu like dies, and you see her like flat in kind of sand or dirt. And then there's a projection of a Neetu in a sari looking over her dead self and singing sadly. And so I sent this song to expert Sal and I was like, what's going on in this song? And we didn't have a chance to really talk about it at length other than like, holy moly, this is a baby Neetu who is,
I
again,
think Sal was
15.
so disturbed that she probably had to like lie on a fainting couch and smell like smelling salts.
So
So when
again,
she recovers, she will get back to
I
you.
will link the song in the show notes for this. Please watch it and tell me what the heck is going on and if the lyrics actually are explaining it particularly. So this is the like, and this is again all in a stage number. So at the end, people are like, yay.
I think the answer is don't do drugs.
It sounds like a very
This is your
morally
brain on
judgmental song.
drugs.
But then how does initial Apsara and then like the Cowboys fit into this? I don't, maybe her second outfit is maybe more like gypsy a little bit, but I don't know. I could not read what was happening here. It was fascinating. And then later there's a song where when she's in the villain lair and has been like kidnapped and I think they've been forcing her to drink basically. She's like doing kind of villain lair, more itemy, but again, it's Neetu doing it. There is no item girl
Mm,
in this film. So it's a very interesting debut, and I feel like they were trying to give her a bunch of more grown-up things to do and see what
mhm.
sticks.
Right.
And not a lot of this, I think, stuck exactly. She could have pulled this off better, in a couple of years. Like she comes a long
Mhm.
way between this and Khel Khel Mein, I would say, which is
Right.
2 years later. So and Rafu Chakkar, where she is much
Plus, if
more,
she's
I'd say,
15 in
confident.
this movie, she was potentially 14 when she started
Well,
shooting for
right.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
right?
very young. She's very young. Wait, which year is Khel Khel Mein? It's 1970. Okay, yeah, 1975. So there's kind of I feel like there's a difference. You raise a good point, which is when did they film any of this and what order they filmed
Yeah.
in? I don't know, but the overall impression of her in Khel Khel Mein is more confident. Um,
And she looks like a college girl in that.
yeah, but she
Yeah.
just is such a baby face
Yeah.
in Rickshawala, and it's a pretty wild ride. Again, a beautiful print. I wish it had subtitles so I could have told you more about what was going on. I apologize for my very disjointed explanation of this film because I can't really explain it. Also, there's like I said, there's a Rickshawala race in
Yeah.
I think they're in Chennai. because you see that tower, the Anna
Uh-huh.
on it. Uh, so I don't know what's going on here or
So
why.
I have one basic question, which is you
Yes.
said Randhir Kapoor was like undercover. So am I to assume he's a cop, but he's
No, I
also
don't think
rickshaw?
so. I think he's just somehow found out that Neetu has been like abducted by by the gang, and so he goes to pretend to be the buyer to
Okay.
save
And he
her.
knows Neetu how?
I don't remember, but they're like on
Okay.
the, she hires him to drive her around to certain
Oh,
points. I think he's
okay.
just like in her neighborhood or something, I think.
Okay.
There's also a song where they are going somewhere and a wedding procession goes by, and then she fantasizes that they are getting married. So then you
Those are the
see
pictures you
her,
sent me.
yeah, like her fantasy wedding night, and you're like, I don't want to see Neetu Singh and Randhir Kapoor in a wedding night. I don't like it. I don't want it. I know he's not that much older than Rishi, who is 6 years older than Neetu. I'm like, I don't like this. Please make it stop. So
But I
weird
feel like
effect.
that every time I see one of the Kapoors who's like paired with some other person by
Yeah,
relation, like
yeah.
Babita with Shami or
Shashi
Neetu
with
with
Neetu, you're like,
Shashi.
oh no, I
And
don't
I'm
like
just
that
like,
either.
no, no, he's your uncle-in-law or like
Right. Uncle-in-law. Yeah.
father-in-law, uncle,
Yeah,
father-in-law, I
basically.
don't know,
Yeah.
uncle-in-law. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, please. And
Please
I
don't.
remember ages ago, again, during the blog days, take a shot. During the blog days, one of our friends, and I don't remember who it was a common friend, maybe it was Susie, I don't remember. But this person said to me, oh, goody, now that Ranbir Kapoor has like debuted and he had just come out with Savaria. And she said, maybe we can see like a movie where Ranbir is with like Karishma or Kareena. I was like, no,
Think
absolutely
about that for a
not.
minute. Please don't.
They can be brother and sister or
Sure.
friends, but
Sure.
not they're not going to be romantic
Nope.
pair. And then they were like,
Nope.
but it's acting. I was like, no, we do not have the stomach for that. Please stop.
That's a
I'm
weird thing
gonna
to want. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
That's where I will judge. That is a weird thing to want because there are hundreds of other people who could do it. Why would you say that? Please don't say that.
Yeah. Hopefully it wasn't Susie who said that. Hopefully she's not listening if she said that. But yeah, I was just kind of like, no, no, please no.
We're not
But
going to
every
do
time
that.
Neetu is paired with one of the related by
Yeah.
marriage people, I'm like, please
Also, yeah.
don't.
And they're too old for her also,
Yeah.
right? Like Shashi is a full 20 years older than she is. It's
Oh,
not good. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
one where she's playing somewhat older than she is, and he's playing younger than the character probably is supposed to be. And it's just kind of like, "Oh, don't.
Okay, I think that what
What ice cream flavors are they?
yes, I almost forgot. Okay, so Rishi has to be something bedazzled, big and something with
Oh,
like sprinkles and sparkles. Okay. Do you know those fancy ice creams that they sell in artisanal places where they have like 24 karat gold leaf on them? Usually it's some bougie place in Dubai that
mm,
shows up on some freaking Instagram reel. So he is one of those in like a really fancy, like crystal cup. And it's like, I don't care what ice cream flavor it is, but it has to have the 24 karat gold leaf on it
interesting. Okay.
because
So
he
again, it's
fancy.
a format more than a flavor.
Yes, it's more
Okay.
about the 24 karat gold
It's about
than it is about
presentation.
it is about the presentation and it is about being to the manor born and it's about
Mm,
being a little bit bougie. So
okay.
that's the ice cream I would choose for him. And then for Neetu, I would pick like strawberry.
Yeah.
It's like pink and it's fun and it's not too complicated, but it's
No.
enjoyable and it's
Mhm.
refreshing. So I would pick strawberry ice cream for her and I would pick something fancy and bougie for him. What about
Interesting.
you?
Yeah, I'm with you for strawberry, for Nitu, or something kind of like that. Yeah, that's a good, I would, or like a pineapple, something kind of like
Hmm.
fruity and bright and nice.
Yeah.
Um, Rishi for me, I'm not sure I could say anything different than I would about Shami, which was again, I want like an ice cream with pop rocks in it, or
Yeah.
or it's like bubblegum flavored or something. Like I want something fun. I don't the rich the like bougie aspect for me is not so much there. It's more about fun.
Mm.
Um, so again, maybe he's an ice cream float with the bubbly
Yeah.
soda around or something like that. But and if we're going to be mean, we can say it's got a like a rum ripple running
Oh, for sure.
running through it. And it's something that stayed past its welcome in certain ways, but then also like turns around and surprises you in Agnipath and some of those things. So I don't know, like something that ages interestingly.
Yeah.
That's
No,
very
there's
complicated to
definitely
get
some
into an ice
alcohol
cream.
involved. His
Yeah.
dialogue from Chandni comes to mind. Cognac sharab nahi hoti.
Oh, so maybe he's like a Bailey's flavor, you know, like it's
Yeah,
kind of sweet,
that's perfect.
but it's got a kick to it,
You're on it.
and
Yes,
it's
it's
enjoyed by
Bailey's.
many ages.
Yes, so it is definitely Bailey's flavor. However, I do want it served in something fancy and bougie
Okay, like
because
a cut
Kapoors are not
glass,
garib, as he
right?
said. His words, not mine.
Yeah,
So, like water crystal or something.
yeah.
So
Okay,
there has to be that element of snobbery
okay.
in there. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yet another flavor to add to our ice cream shop. We're going to spend all of our funds on buying water for crystal. I
Yeah,
don't
maybe
know if
that's a
we
to
have that much
go, and
spare
you serve
change.
it yourself at home in your
Yeah,
Waterford Crystal.
exactly. Okay, I think that wraps up this episode. Our next Kapoor series episodes will basically be on the Raj side of the family because that is the
Yeah,
branch that continues to produce. So we'll have Lolo, we'll have Bebo, we'll have Ranbir Kapoor, and that'll basically be it until we get to Alia. Once we get to our female superstars of
yeah.
like the later generations,
And Lolo
I'm
Bebo is kind of a superstars Kapoor crossover. So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm actually excited to do the Lolo episode because I know you haven't seen very many of
barely
Karishma's
any.
films.
Yeah,
And she was definitely one of the mainstays of my like 90s
sure.
Bollywood just growing up. Like she was everywhere. She was ubiquitous. Her, Ravina Tandon, Sonali Bendre, um, Kajal, like they were just and then Kajal, of course, went off into like a different trajectory than them. But like
Yeah.
I have such fond memories of all of Karishma Kapoor's like amazing dance numbers. So I'm excited to do that episode.
If people have recommendations for charisma for me, like please put them in the comments, and I will be asking Twitter as well. But I really don't know her work at all, basically. So I instead of flying blind, I would love some recommendations.
Definitely
So
avoid her pre-makeover work. So I would say avoid her debut film Prem Kedi, which is absolutely horrific. And she's 16 and looks very uncomfortable and
mm,
has the most awful perm ever. And avoid like Nishche and all of those movies of that. Like the pre-makeover Karishma Kapoor movies are absolutely awful. So don't
okay.
watch those.
Okay.
But watch the post makeover
All right.
films of hers. So yeah. Okay, well, thank you for watching Filmy Ladies, and we will see you next week. Bye.